Welcome back everybody. Today I'm here to talk about the synopsis for The Walking Dead Season 9B. It's a pretty long one and a lot of cool stuff in it, so I'm very excited to talk about it. And then also we can talk about what we can expect when Season 9 returns. Before I do begin though, if you are a fan of The Walking Dead, be sure to subscribe for daily content. But other than that, let's get started. Alright, so the synopsis reads, the second half of The Walking Dead Season 9 finds our groups of survivors, both old and new, continuing to deal with the impact of events that took place during the 6 years that have passed. Since the disappearance of Rick, many of these characters have become strangers to each other, and in some ways, strangers to themselves. What they do know is that they are in undeniable danger. They will soon realize the world just beyond does not operate as they thought. The group's rules and ways of survival no longer guarantee their safety. A whole new threat has crossed their path, and they soon discover it's unlike any threat they have encountered or endured before. The group will start to question what they think they see. What may appear to be normal in this post-apocalyptic world could actually be more disturbing and terrifying than when the apocalypse first broke out. All that is certain is that the stakes are high and numerous. Well, hot damn, I really did like that synopsis, and The Walking Dead is doing such a great job behind the scenes, on camera, to make this season, and they're making this season I think one of the best seasons ever. I'm actually working on a video right now where I'm ranking all 8 episodes of the first half of season 9, and I'm having a tough time doing it. Like, I know the best episode and I know the weakest episode, but all the other episodes in the middle, it's tough to do because each episode in this season has been really good. So quickly, I want to just say that how happy I am with this season, but let's talk about the synopsis. So first thing I want to say is I love how they mentioned Rick, because even though Rick will not be on the main show anymore, for a very long time at least, he has had such a huge impact on the show and on the characters in particular that, you know, because this is going to be the first half season without Rick. That's pretty crazy to think about. So, you know, just like us fans who are always going to have Rick in the back of our heads, same thing with the characters, because what Rick did in the first half, the first 6 episodes, is probably going to affect the characters for the rest of their lives, because right here, it's like since Rick left, you know, things were never the same, and that's pretty crazy to think about, because in a way, Rick was the glue to all the communities, because he was the one person who was trying to make everybody work together, and it's said that since Rick has disappeared, many of these characters have become strangers to each other, and in some ways strangers to themselves. And we saw that right away as soon as Rick left. You know, the communities had tension with each other. Michonne and the Hilltop and the Kingdom, they're not getting along, and I can't wait to find out what happened, because these guys have fought a war together. Like, it's so crazy, like how, like, whatever happened had to be so huge that the communities have been, you know, I have never seen them this angry at each other or anything, and they've been through a lot of shit together. So that's really interesting, and I can't wait to find out what happened. But I think when in the synopsis, the characters that they're pertaining to is the big 3, Michonne, Maggie, and Daryl, because these 3 characters specifically have become strangers to others and strangers to themselves, I think the most out of anybody on the show. I mean, let's look at Maggie first of all, because she completely left all the communities and went off with Georgie, and it's not like Georgie was this new person and she went to go check out, you know, where they are. Like, she knew about Georgie for almost 2 years, because remember, there was a time jump in the beginning of season 9. So, you know, she was at the Hilltop. She obviously wouldn't leave the Hilltop. So, like I mentioned before, in a way, Rick was the glue holding the communities together. You know, after Rick left, you know, a lot of shit probably broke down, and that's what led Maggie to leave, because she didn't leave before Rick left, and she knew about Georgie. So, and then also look at Daryl. Like, he completely went off and lived in the woods. Like, that you cannot get any more stranger than that. And Michonne too, you know, like I mentioned before, she's not getting along with the Kingdom or the Hilltop, and we also see that she's talking to herself or having conversations with Rick. So it's pretty obvious that she, and that I totally get it, it's understandable. And I actually do like this a lot, how she's still thinking about Rick over the 6 years, because somebody should teach Lori how to love somebody, because what, it was like 2 weeks, like a month or something, and she started banging Shane. No, I'm just messing. I'm not about to give Lori shit over nothing, but actually it was something. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that I love how Michonne is still thinking about Rick, and it's been 6 years. But anyways, let's move on and talk about the Whispers. But I just absolutely love that line from the synopsis. I don't know if I talked too much about it, but I did love that line. But I also did like how they were describing the Whispers, you know, that they are in undeniable danger, and you know, this is a group that they've never, you know, seen before, and it's more disturbing and terrifying than when the apocalypse first broke out. And I think that's all true, because I think the Whisperers are one of the most unique villains, not just The Walking Dead, like ever. Like, I love the Whisperers, and I think they're super scary, and I love them in the comic books, and I was so excited for them to come to the TV show because I knew how terrifying they were going to be on screen. And just that little bit we have in the first half of season 9, I'm already shitting my pants, so I can't wait to get more. I also love the line in the synopsis that says that they will begin to question what they think they see, because this is very true, because it's interesting, because the actors in the show who play the walkers, they technically are Whisperers if you think about it, because some of them wear masks and some of them wear, you know, it's like makeup and prosthetics and whatever. So basically they are Whisperers in a way. So it's very hard to tell the difference between an actual walker and a Whisperer. Obviously a walker is going to be much more decayed, but what I'm trying to say is that this is also a lot of fun for fans, and it's going to keep us at the edge of our seat and keep it very fresh, because we don't know what's a walker and what's a Whisperer. And I really hope they utilize what they did with Jesus when that walker just ducked. Like, that was one of the best like combos ever. Like, I love that so much when the walker just, or the Whisperer, ducked and stabbed Jesus. We need to do more of that with the minor characters. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing that again, like a couple different like ways to do that. Like, I love that, and that's what I mean, because it's hard to tell the difference between a walker and a Whisperer, so that's gonna add a lot to the show. And I don't even need to talk about the masks. They are already scary as hell. Like, this is the one that everybody's talking about. I made a video talking about Alpha, because I do believe this is Alpha right here based on the clothes what she's wearing. But the way she's standing, the mask is terrifying. And then look at the other side. I'm pretty sure this is her looking at Luke and Alden. And then look at those Whisperers behind them. Like, that's what I mean. That's pretty obvious that it's a Whisperer, but it's still very scary because it looks like something straight out of a scary movie. So I do love it, and it's gonna be fun for fans to, you know, try to figure out what's a Whisperer and what's a walker. And we've already been doing that for the past like 3 years on the show. So now that it's actually here, it's gonna be more fun. And then look how terrifying Beta looks like. We don't even need to discuss this. That guy is terrifying. And then also, I quickly wanted to point this out again in case you guys missed it, but it looks like he has Negan's scarf, so I can't wait to see. And we know he's gonna be fighting Daryl, and we saw that in the trailer. So I do think I made a video talking about how I think Beta will save Daryl, and I do think it's gonna happen because they do mention in the synopsis how all the groups are strangers, and then they switch and say that there's a new threat out there. But in a way, I think the groups need to come back together, and they need to recruit everybody. And we also saw that in the trailer with Aaron saying that there's a new threat out there. And, you know, I think the Walking Dead TV show, they did a smart thing, because none of this happens in the comics. You know, none of this happens in the comics with the groups being completely split apart like this. I think it makes sense because it makes it much more interesting. It adds a lot of layers to the show. And now with the Whisperers coming in, they need to all get back together and probably, you know, in a way, once again, fight another war. Negan needs to redeem himself, because there's no way that they're just gonna let Negan escape and help them fight in the war. Like, he has to do something to redeem himself. And, you know, with the Whisperers being the huge threat that they are, they're gonna need as many hands as possible. And if, you know, Negan saves Daryl's life, you know, because Daryl is not, I mean, if it's a one-on-one fight between Daryl and Beta, Daryl's probably gonna die. Like, Beta is so much bigger than Daryl. So if this is a one-on-one fight, there is no way that Daryl is gonna survive. So Negan needs to come and help him. Like we saw in the trailer that Beta picked up Daryl and body slammed him, you know, against that wall. So I don't think Daryl stands a chance against Beta. I think Daryl, those two knives he has, I think those are gonna get taken away. And then Negan is a pretty big guy, so Beta, if it's a 2-on-1, Beta might just grab the knives or something off the floor and run away or something, because chances are Daryl's gonna drop them. But then that way, when Negan helps Daryl, Daryl might throw in a good word for him back in the communities. And if, you know, Negan goes back to the community and isn't running away or anything, he most likely is going to get, you know, recruited to help them fight the Whisperers. But I am going to wrap it up there. I just quickly want to talk about a synopsis, because that was a really cool synopsis and it gets me excited for the second half of season 9. We still got a little bit under 2 months, so still a little ways to go. We probably are going to get like maybe another trailer in January or something, so I can't wait for that. But, you know, we get Walking Dead news a lot, so, you know, there's always cons and interviews and stuff. So if you're a fan of Walking Dead, be sure to subscribe to stay tuned for any new information that comes out. But I want to hear from you guys, so in the comments down below, leave your thoughts on the synopsis and leave your thoughts and opinions, and what do you guys want to see when season 9 returns in February. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like rating, and for more Walking Dead content like this, be sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.